Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning and taking a few minutes just to quiet yourself and ground yourself and prepare yourself for happy experience as we move into our service shortly. So I invite you just to look closely at the photo on your screen. A beautiful blossom-filled tree. And allow your gaze to choose one particular branch and one particular flower. And in your imagination, allow yourself to actually move inside that flower. And just simply allow your eyes to close. And imagine yourself as being one with the flower. I invite you to smell the odor all around you as all these blossoms in your periphery, with whom you are connected, with whom you are communicating. Feel the energy, smell the smell, see the beauty, listen to hear if those apple blossoms are talking to each other, and if the tree is talking and communicating with another tree. And feel the freshness of the air and the softness of the blossoms. See the blue of the sky and just simply allow yourself to be one with the blossoms. Feel your blossomness. And if your mind tends to wander off into thought, simply acknowledge it and bring your focus back to being a blossom, being one with the tree. Being one with life, with the breezes, with the clouds, with the blue sky. Just oneness, oneness, oneness. Just relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. And now imagine what it would be like to be a bee moving from one blossom to another, picking up the pollen and fertilizing, creating new life, becoming a vital part of the cycle of life. and just relaxing into that connection, that oneness. Feeling the energy of life moving through you, pulsating, connecting all of life. And feeling yourself at one with the blossom, with the bee, with the tree, with the sky, with the clouds. Totally immersed in the flow of life. Bringing yourself back to an awareness of the oneness. And now gently, gently begin to bring your awareness back into the physical body that you inhabit. Become aware of your breathing in and breathing out, becoming aware of your fingers, becoming aware of your toes, becoming aware of the pressure of your body against your chair, becoming aware of the depth of your breathing and the feel of the air in your lungs, feeling the temperature in the room and the air against your face. Gently, gently, gently fading into the silence and allowing life to reinvigorate your body, to energize your body. Stretch up your neck now. Stretch your neck. Expand your chest. Raise your shoulders and draw them back. Lift your chin. Feel your jaw relaxed and your forehead relaxed and your body completely at ease and at peace. Breathe deeply with me now, breathing in and out, and in and out. Now stretching up your neck once again, and gently, gently, as you feel ready, just allow your eyelids to flutter open and bring your awareness back to this time and this place. Gently open your eyes and stay on the line. We'll shortly have some very quiet music and moving into our service this morning. So thank you so much for being with us.
meditation? How's it going, boss? That's a good handshake. I'm good. Good to see you, man. Kyle Moses. Kyle Moses. Kyle Moses. Not osmosis, Kyle Moses. That's right. Mount Benson, right there. My nails. Hi, you look lovely. Look at that outfit. Dynamite.
What kind of a color is that for a natural male?
Perfect. I'm not sure. I hadn't really considered it.
Well, how you doing?
Good. You
I'm okay.
just okay?
As long as I get the wife along to keep me on track.
Yeah. So she's doing her job.
I hope so. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
So you got a big summer plan?
Not really, but we're actually going away tomorrow.
Where are you going?
We're going to Calgary. Making our way to Calgary. So
Praise God. That's where all my rounders are. But I'm looking at $8 a gallon for motels and hotels. And I don't want to see the rounders like that.
yeah.
So, anyway, good to see you.
Yes.
Hi, Patricia. How are you?
And when you say goodbye, aloha. Any culture that goodbye and hello is the same. That's awesome.
I have to listen carefully. Listening is not
There's
good.
a culture in South Polynesian culture, there's a certain island where they don't have a word for left or right. They just say east or west or north or south. So everything is coordinates, yeah. So they don't say, oh, it's that way or this way. They say, oh, it's north. And so you always have to know, which really makes sense because that would imprint you with a real sense of, direction. Use your north hand, exactly. Well, it depends. He's got compass on the soles of his shoes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unity Service Sunday morning.
Welcome yourself. What is it? What does it say?
Yeah, welcome yourselves.
Welcome yourselves to Unity.
Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together.
Ai netel,
I need to.
ai kwana I limnana. Good morning. It's really good to see you. We are fortunate to live on the territories of the Coast Salish people, in particular here in Nanaimo, of the Nanaimo people, whose traditions, cultures, and friendships has enriched the lives of many generations of settlers and visitors. They have cared for Mother Earth and her bounty since time immemorial, and for this we owe an immense debt of gratitude. Haichka. And I want to welcome you this morning to Unity Vancouver Island. Unity all over the island and beyond. You are welcome here. This is a positive path for spiritual living, an opportunity to grow, to question, to learn, to expand, and to be empowered and transformed. So thank you for being here.
Give it away.
I didn't hear it, so I started to doubt you. You couldn't feel it, so just lost your way. We'll never find it if we don't get it out there. It's not love to give it away. It's not a treasure buried within you. It's not a bankroll save up for a rainy day. It's not like a lifeboat, used till you're sinking. It's not love to give it away. Just give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away. Just give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away. Just let it go and watch it grow. Just give it up. You still will have enough. Just give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away. And it's not peace till you make peace your mission. And it won't be till they hear what you need to say. It's gonna take faith, 'cause it's such a contradiction. It's not love. Give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away. Just give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away. It's not love till you give it away.
Don't you put that microphone down, Brian. No. We got more work to do. It's good work if you can get it.
Wherever you go, wherever you may wander in your life, sure you know, sure you always wanna be there. Your hand standing by to catch you if you
make it right.
Let me take you through that wonderland, and all of us can share. All I ask is let me be there. Let me be there in your morning. Let me be there in your night. Let me change whatever's wrong and make it right.
Make it right.
Let me take you through that wonderland that all of us can share. All I ask you is let me be there. All I ask you is let me be there.
Thank you, boys in the band. As you probably know, last week was National Indigenous Peoples Day, and we did have a prayer circle, which a few of us attended. And at that time, we heard a prayer that was actually prepared by the United Church of Canada, and I have amended it a bit to be more in tune with our affirmative way of praying. But I'd like to read that to you. We gather this day with gratitude for the blessings of our lives and for the people of our community. We honor and bless especially the original peoples of this land. We think with gratitude about the welcome Indigenous peoples gave to the first visitors who arrived here from afar and settled in this place. We imagine that there must have been misunderstandings and hardship in these early relationships, but we also know that working relationships, bonds of friendships, and bonds of kinship and love grew out of these early encounters. Our ancestors in this place agreed to share these sacred lands in a covenantal relationship and to live side by side in peace as neighbors, respecting each other as communities of peoples with different customs and traditions and unique understandings of their relationship with the divine. We see divinity in each other and learn as we encounter each other. Through the infinite wisdom that is God in each of us, we come to understand the needs of the Indigenous peoples of this place. We are aware of the ongoing injustices and adversity, including racism, which our Indigenous brothers, sisters, and cousins experience. We turn to the power of wisdom within to discover answers to the racism and violence faced by some in our own community. We have a deep love for this place. Our deep desire to know what we can do to best show that we love our neighbors as ourselves motivates our every word and deed. We commit to using our gifts, our knowledge, our skills, our positions in society, and our strength as a community of faith to support our Indigenous neighbors. With humility, we welcome the wisdom to know when and how to follow their lead in seeking solutions and in making positive changes. Our hearts, our minds, and our spirits are open to new possibilities when the steps our Indigenous leaders and neighbors wish to take may be uncomfortable or unfamiliar. We are filled with the power and the courage to trust in the deep wisdom and traditional knowledge of our Indigenous neighbors. We accept the gift of learning from our neighbors that we may broaden and deepen our understanding of how to live together, to share resources, to put our complementary skills to work together, and to build on our common desire to live in wholeness together. We welcome new ways to let our Indigenous neighbors know that we honor them, that we want to live together with them in harmony, and that we share their hope for a blessed future together, for growth in mutual understanding and respect, for healing, for justice, and for reconciliation. All my relations. Amen. And I invite you once again to please join us on Friday, Canada Day. Tsumquatin will be here, and as we did last year, we will sit in the library. This year, a little more hopeful than last year, and we'll have some refreshments together, so please join us. And so for my words of wisdom, following up on that prayer, I did some research for the prayer circle into the United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People, as we affectionately call it, UNDRIP. Uninformed Canadians, and I have been one of them, and still am one of them to a large extent, but we've had the idea that being non-racist and inclusive simply means saying to the Indigenous people, sure, you're just like us, come on, you can come and be with us. But being equal doesn't mean being like us. It means having equal opportunity to be themselves. It means the recognition that the way they are and the way they historically were and have been is equally valid to the way we are and have been. So the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People was adopted by the United Nations in 2007, and the vote was 144 countries in favor, 11 countries abstained, and 4 voted against it. The 4 who voted against it were Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and Canada. All 4 have simply since then reversed their vote, but bear that in mind. It's a long document. There are 46 articles. I'd like to share 5 of them briefly with you. Article 5, Indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, legal, economic, social, and cultural institutions while retaining their right to participate fully, if they so choose, in the political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state. Article 18, Indigenous peoples have the right to participate in decision-making in matters which would affect their rights through representatives chosen by themselves in accordance with their own procedures, as well as to maintain and develop their own Indigenous decision-making institutions. Article 19, states shall consult and cooperate in good faith with the Indigenous peoples concerned through their own representative institutions in order to obtain free, prior, and informed consent before adopting and implementing legislative or administrative measures that may affect them. And if you have read the book, 21 Things You May Know About the Indian Act, you'll know that for well over 100 years, the Government of Canada did not do that. Article 26, Indigenous people have the right to the lands, territories, and resources which they have traditionally owned, occupied, or otherwise used or acquired. And Article 28, Indigenous people have the right to redress by means that can include restoration, or when this is not possible, just, fair, and equitable compensation for the lands, territories, and resources which they have traditionally owned or otherwise occupied or used, and which have been confiscated, taken, occupied, used, or damaged without their free, prior, and informed consent. We are deeply in debt. So let's just remember that in our interactions with, and remember when it's time to vote and time to decide how to spend our tax dollars of the debt we owe. Thank you. Namaste. Brian.
Information of the week. You have to go back up one more time.
Aren't there 3 of them? Oh, well, maybe we do this first. So as you know, we've been repeating the previous mission statements of the various entities that constitute Unity Vancouver Island, just to kind of see how they feel on the tongue as we go forward. So one of them, repeat this with me if you will, Unity Vancouver Island, transforming and enriching lives through spiritual awareness. And the vision of Unity worldwide is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening.
There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us.
Hi. I always feel much better on a drum throne. Feels a little more home. Wow, thank you for that, Reverend Patricia. I think we're getting a little feedback here. Yeah, just a touch. I'm not sure about my talk anymore after that. I'm so taken aback by that let your ears hear. And I'm sure we all heard different things from what Reverend Patricia shared. And maybe it's the filters we have, or maybe it's our way of listening to things, or some preconceived notions that we might be carrying. Can we ever really listen from a place without all that stuff? That's a great question to ask yourself on a regular basis, is where am I listening from? Where am I hearing? The parable of the sower. So I'm going to share some scripture today, just because I'm allowed to. It said so in my study classes that I'm allowed to share scripture at Unity Spiritual Centers, so I'm going to do that today. So the parable of the sower. Anybody familiar with the parable of the sower? Few people are. All right. When a large crowd was gathering, as people were coming to him from town after town, he said in a parable, this is Jesus, of course, a sower went out to sow his seed, and as he sowed, some fell on a path and was trampled on, and the birds of the air ate it up. Some fell on rock, and as it grew up, it withered for lack of moisture. Some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew with it and choked it. And some fell into good soil, and when it grew, it produced 100-fold. As he said this, he called out, "If you have ears to hear, then hear." Now, what is the purpose of parables? So this is one of the first parables that Jesus actually shared. He loved to speak in these parables, which are sort of like riddles. You can probably meditate or pray on these for days on end and come up with a whole bunch of different meanings or interpretations for yourself. Then his disciples asked him what this parable meant, and he said, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of God, but to others I speak in parables so that looking they may not perceive, and hearing they may not understand." What? So it's like saying, I do this to confuse you so you don't actually know what I'm saying, or you don't actually know what to look for, and maybe you just run away. Or maybe there's those that actually don't need to dig deeper. Maybe there's those that don't need to really hear or listen or see something. They just kind of follow. And then there's also, maybe we're selecting people. Right? Maybe this is only going to fall in the camp of certain people, and they're going to come along for the party that we're having, and others that aren't ready for that yet, they're just going to stay away. Maybe they're not ready for that. Maybe they're not wanting that in their life. So, as I reflected on this, I was thinking there's so many different ways that you could play out these words. And I have found that with every parable. So now he explains it. So now the parable is this: the seed is the word of God. The ones on the path are those who have heard. Then the devil comes and takes away their word from their hearts so that they may not believe and be saved. So there's that word devil. I'm sure that's kicking up some stuff for people, right? Same as the word God. That's going to probably trigger some earlier belief systems or ways of being that you might have known earlier in life. It certainly was for me. But fortunately, we have Charles Fillmore, who has this great metaphysical dictionary and the Revealing Word, and we can find some new interpretations from that. So that's been very helpful for me on this ministerial path. So for the devil, this is the mass of thoughts that has been built up in race consciousness through many generations of earthly experiences and crystallized into what may be termed human personality or carnal mind, which opposes and rejects God. So when I think now of what Patricia shared this morning, how much of race consciousness has affected what's going on with the Indigenous people? How much of that has been passed along to us? And I hadn't thought of this until you brought that up this morning, but you know, there is a filter there. There's a way of understanding and knowing that comes from predetermined childhood, where we were raised in a certain way or with a certain understanding. These things are indoctrinated into us, and then we probably, if we're fortunate, we have the opportunity to spend the rest of our life unpacking them. And maybe some people don't even see it in themselves. And maybe they don't hear or see what's actually going on, and they just continue on their path. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? We don't need to judge it. We don't need to say it's right or wrong. It's just what they're doing, right? Because it starts here, doesn't it? Right? If we live from the inside out, don't we stand a better chance of having a better life for ourselves? At least that's what I believe, that if I start here, then at least this is okay, you know, this is in order, then I can get through anything. That's what I believe. So let's continue. The ones on the path are those who have heard. Okay, the ones on the rock are those who, when they hear the word, receive it with joy. Ah, that's so good. But these have no root. They believe only for a while, and in a time of testing, fall away. So has anybody tried something new, been really excited about it, whatever that is, and then it's like, it's too much work, it's too hard, I don't feel like it today, and it's okay if I don't feel like it, right? What was that?
I said playing bassoon.
Playing bassoon.
I really wanted it, but not enough.
So playing bassoon apparently is something that is a struggle to do.
It's a struggle.
Okay. So, you know, what I find is that when I read from Scripture, I have to try to remove the idea that it's just God specific, and that it's this God out there, which I was raised to believe, and that this is judging me, whereas in actual fact, what I'm working on, continually bringing myself to, is it's God within. And that God within, the God of my being, or the God of your being, whatever that is for you, is what's speaking to you. That's what is there for you. And so whatever path you choose, whatever thing that comes along that is speaking to you, is what we're talking about here. Do you have what it takes to continue on that? And maybe sometimes it's just like, I actually just don't want to do this anymore. And that's okay, right? There's like, it's completely fine to not want to do something any longer. But it's understanding the difference between I don't want to do this anymore, or I'm giving up because it's da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever that story is. As for what fell among the thorns, these are the ones who hear, but as they go on their way, they are choked by the cares and riches and pleasures of life, and their fruit does not mature. Or mature, is it mature? Mature? I don't know. I'll take an English class next. Tomato, tomato, thank you. Right, so how many people get sidetracked by what's out there? You know, as I like to say, life is lifing me right now, right? And I get sucked up into the vacuum of life, and I'm no longer living from here. You know, as Charles, or as the 12 powers would put it, is the wisdom here, our solar plexus, our heart energy. Here, you know, a lot of this, too much of this mind thing, and I lose that connection to this part of me, or maybe I didn't even have it for the longest time, and now I'm responding to everything out there and living from that place and what other people think I should be doing, and, you know, following this whim and that whim, and instead of quieting what's going on, centering myself, getting connected here, and really feeling that this is home. This is home. This is where I need to operate from. But as for that in the good soil, these are the ones who, when they hear the word, hold it fast in an honest and good heart and bear fruit with endurance. And how many people have had that for periods of time in their life? Yeah, and maybe you're still having it today. Maybe it is still really there, and sometimes you're just wrestling with all this other stuff. Because does it ever go away? Do those things ever, those opportunities to get sidetracked, those opportunities to fall off, or as I like to call it to myself, falling off the ledge for a while, do those ever stop showing up? No, of course not. They're always going to be there. So then what do? We'll get to that. I want to finish this up though, because the next part of this is I love this, a lamp under a jar. Oh, wow, that sounds great. A lamp under a jar. Like the writer who put this together this is Luke, by the way, Luke 8, 4 to, I think, 23 or something. Whoever wrote this, like when they put this together, I just love how they phrase things, right? So, lamp under a jar. Oh, that sounds cool. I'll read that. No one after lighting a lamp hides it under a jar or puts it under a bed. So has anybody done that? Has anybody here turned on the lamp and then stuck it under the bed? Well, okay, if I'm looking for something, flashlight, I get it, right? Rather, one puts it on a lampstand so that those who enter may see the light. For nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, nor is anything secret that will not become known and come to light. So if we go back to what was it, the phrasing of looking they may not perceive and hearing they may not understand? Well, for those that actually want to do that, nothing is hidden. It's not actually unavailable to us. It's completely available to us if we choose to, if we want to know something. So and just going back to that, this is going back to Isaiah 6, by the way. So this is prophecy being delivered upon. Because in Isaiah says the same thing. So this parable speaks to the earlier Hebrew scriptures. I don't remember what I was going to say. I'll move on. So pay attention to how you listen. For to those who have, more will be given, and from those who do not have, even what they seem to have will be taken away. So I've heard this referred to as in prosperity consciousness, right? You know, so the idea that if you hoard things, you'll actually lose, and if you share and give amongst others, you'll actually gain more. But for this one, it's pay attention to how you listen. Where are you hearing from? What is your preconceived filters that are running? As soon as Patricia brought up the conversation today, for whoever is listening to this, whether it's, here live with us or streaming or later on, what gets triggered? That's the work that we get to do. And I really phrase it that way. That's the work that we get to do. Because part of developing our spiritual selves or getting in connection with our wisdom and our heart space, part of that is, first of all, noticing. We have to notice that there's actually something going on with us. We need to actually first take account of, oh, hey, I noticed that when I show up, people don't really want to talk to me. I wonder if it's because I'm a jerk sometimes, right? I've had that conversation with myself. So maybe there's something I could work on here. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm okay with that. So we want to move from this part here. Like, this is great. So we've been able to read through this. Anybody can take this and meditate on it and come up with a whole bunch of different ideas, ideologies, explanations, understandings for themselves. That's the power of understanding, which in our 12 powers of humans, we have here in our front forebrain. So we can understand things. We can interpret them, we can take them apart, and we can get to the bottom of something. But we need that love piece. And love is here, right? The great harmonizer, the attractor, Like when we're coming from this place here, then a whole different world of attraction opens up to us. We're no longer operating here where it's na 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 and life is lifing us and we're trying to figure it all out and da da da. We're actually breathing and calming ourselves down and moving from this space here. And that's a whole different realm of being. And I hadn't really thought of this before, but, so I grew up Catholic, and there was always these pictures of Jesus with the heart out and the Sacred Heart. And I finally get it. Look at the work the dude did. I mean, he had a ministry for 3.5 years, was crucified on a cross, died, and we're still talking about him today. That's a pretty huge impact. That must mean there was some heart, for me, at least I interpret that. There was some heart going on. There was some love. There was something much deeper than just, hey, I got some ideas that I'll write down on a piece of paper and share them. As a matter of fact, he never wrote anything down. This is other people talking about it. So here's what also came up for me is, understanding my piece in this for me. So anybody here do any condemning of others?
No.
Yeah. Does anybody relate to, even just a little bit, like just a little tiny bit, oh, that person, I don't really like them. Maybe a tiny little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I like to think that I only condemn big people now, like important people. So I've still got that to work on. Most people that I see to be just in the same camp I am, I don't condemn them, but the ones that have some power or authority, I'm still in the place of condemning those people. And so that's something I get to work on. Now, understanding also shows up for me in the area of doing. Is there anybody here that's really good at doing? Do, huh? Huh? I'm a doer. Gonna get this done today. Any cost, doesn't matter. Even if I'm yelling at my kids, even if I'm, crushing something else, I don't care. I got my stuff to do. So I realize that, and I'll preface this with the best way I can talk about stuff is to share what's going on for me. Because if I tried to share what's going on for you, then that would be me judging you as if you're a bad person. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to judge anybody. I don't want to say, hey, you need to live your life differently. You can do whatever you want. That's completely fine. But I found that over the last couple of years, I was falling more and more into the camp of doing. So I come here every Sunday and we do this. What's next? Check that off and slide. Yeah, I got the slides done. Yeah, it's time to read the announcements. Great. Oh, I'm talking this Sunday. Okay. Okay, I'll do that. Oh, I got a drum. And so doing was happening. I was definitely doing. And from the outside, maybe it looked like everything was fine for all of you. I don't know. I don't know how anybody perceives me. I'm just doing what I do. But I realized that there's a lot more to it than that. There's who am I being in the doing? Am I really being a spiritual person in this? Am I really being the ministerial student or candidate that I want to be while I'm doing this? And I found that actually, you know what? It was becoming more of a doing than a being for me. Anybody else experience that with stuff? That it's just, you're just kind of going through the motions? Go with the flow? Whatever it is, even if it's your job. And again, this is what I find so powerful about this, is it has nothing to do with God or the Word of God. It has to do with our truth. Am I living my personal truth? Am I holding steadfast to that which I say I am? Or am I just doing stuff? Not right or wrong, not good or bad, right? Either's fine. But I actually find now that I want that being bit. Like, I really want that to come home to roost. I really want to be living in that way more than the doing. Because when I live there, what I noticed was when I live there, life seems to flow, as Eric Butterworth would say in his book, The Flow of Life. Life seems to flow really well when I'm there. And when I'm just stuck in the doing, it seems like a lot of things come up and they're problems. And then I have to try to figure out how I'm going to overcome all of these problems. Whereas when I'm in the flow and being, those same things come up, but I don't have to figure anything out. I'm just like, hey, we'll just get through this, man. Here we go. Just be. Instead of do, be. Huh? And I was thinking about this. Is anybody here for the Rick Scott talk a couple weeks ago, or anybody that's watched it online? What I really took away from that in the getting the hat, in the end, the prize was the hat, so to speak. It was because of who he was being. It wasn't the work that he was doing. Sure, he was singing for kids, and it's all, as Neil Young would say, I'm not singing for Pepsi, I'm not singing for Coke. He was singing for kids and doing all the right stuff. But when push came to shove, he was grounded in who he was and spoke from there, that answered the question from not trying to be right, but what he believed, and still continued on. Even though while he was playing, he had all this judgment going on. Am I doing this right? It's like these kids are like, I'm failing miserably. All of that, he still was steadfast in what he was there to do from a place of being. And in the end, that was recognized. And so, it's funny, all of the other cheering and accolades that might have come from all the students, to me, didn't mean nearly as much to Rick as that one guy who said, I'll show up for you wherever you are to give you a hat. That was the victory. For Rick, that was probably a great truth for him, that he was now able to stand on that going forward. Like, that was a demonstration and a return that was so powerful that it's like, okay, this is what I'm here to do. And nothing is going to penetrate that. Nothing is going to move me off of that rock. So I'll leave you with something from Alan Watts. And part of the talk title came from Alan Watts, because he has this great meditation where he says, let your ears hear whatever they want to hear. Don't judge them. Don't give them names. You'll do that automatically. Right? Anybody there? Anybody have that? Yeah. Then it's like, no, don't think that. No, stop. But this is from Alan Watts, and this comes from some Taoism, way beyond seeking. Regard yourself as a cloud in the flesh, because you see, clouds never make mistakes. Did you ever see a cloud that was mishappen? Did you ever see a badly designed wave? No, they always do the right thing. But if you will treat yourself for a while as a cloud or a wave and realize that you can't make a mistake whatever you do, because even if you do something that appears totally disastrous, it will all come out in the wash somehow or another. Then through this capacity, you will develop a kind of confidence. And through confidence, you will be able to trust your own intuition. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Namaste. And if you'll join me now for a few moments of silence, and I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes, and if you're not comfortable doing that, just find a place on the chair in front of you or the ground or a wall, wherever you are joining us today from, and just soften your gaze and allow yourself to breathe, knowing that the whole time that we've been together, you've been breathing without having to think about it. It's just been part of what you do. Well, I invite you now to honor that breath. Acknowledge it moving in and moving out. And allow yourself to recognize your heart space, your heart center. If it helps, you can place a hand on your heart, both hands if you want. Honoring that energy, that force of nature, that attraction, that harmonizer of life. Knowing that love resides here. And if you want, you can gently touch your forehead and know that understanding is the beginning. Noticing, understanding. And then we move down into our heart and bring love to all that we do and share. And gently allow yourself to breathe, exhale, and as you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to whatever space you're in.
just wanted to just briefly say that what you said, Thomas, it was really inspiring, and the idea of mistakes and context and going with the flow. It's a funny experience. The first time I ever discovered, I made a mistake one time when I was in high school. I was playing this piece, and I hit a wrong note. And it's something like this, right? You're like, ugh, that's not right. That doesn't sound good. But then you realize that without that note, you don't have all that emotion. You'd have. So it's the wrong notes in the right context that make music so delicious. So with that in mind, I'm going to play some wrong notes. At least that's the strategy here. on now.
Thank you, Nico. Wow.
Well, your words really hit me, so I kind of had to let it out a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, good stuff coming up. Just a reminder that we have Back to Talk that is available online right after service. So you just go to your newsletter and click on the link in that, and you'll be right there, or those are the passwords you need if you want to join in. And just get together with people who have watched the service this morning and share your insights, ideas, criticisms.
Judgments.
No.
Judgments.
Our library is open, so and it's air conditioned, by the way.
What?
So if you're here a few minutes early and you'd like to go in the back room and pick up a book or visit for a few minutes, you're most welcome to do that. And if you anytime you want to come and look at the library, just give me a call and I'll probably be here and I can open it up for you.
Could I put a cot back there and just kind of...
Could be arranged. Monday Magic at the Met. Tomorrow, the 27th, is Games Night at 6:30 p.m. Next Monday, the 4th, is the Prayer Circle at 2:30 in the afternoon. And on Monday, the 11th, Anna Harvey will give her third section of How to Hug a Cactus. And stay tuned if you're here in person. Brenda is over there cooking up baked potatoes and all sorts of goodies to go on top of them. So join us for lunch and also stay and have the choir concert. And I'll tell you, we rock.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
So this is your chance. And that's this afternoon. Help my friends. That's the name of the choir recital, I guess you'd call it. And Joelle, Rick, and Joshua will be there to do songs, lead songs, and we will be backing them up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Ongoing events. The second and fourth Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, Prayer Circle in the Spiritual Center in Comox. Tuesdays at 10 o'clock here in Nanaimo, seated Tai Chi. This is particularly good with people with mobility issues. Thursdays at 10:30, A Course in Miracles with Leanne. Leanne, why don't you give a wave so people know who you are? There you are. And first and third Fridays now, we're just down to two Fridays a month, and we're changing the time to 6:30. So the first hour or so of families would like to come and need to get the kids home to bed a little earlier. So we'll start at 6:30, and then we'll carry on till the rest of us are tired. And Canada Day, I've already mentioned, we will sit together in the Labyrinth. Lawrence Tumquanton will be here. As usual, it is my hope, my dream, that we will have an equal number of Indigenous and non-Indigenous people present. So if you do have Indigenous friends and acquaintances, please let them know this is happening. And save the date, the Unity Family Reunion. A couple of things have been added. As you know, we have the Big Mess playing for us on the Saturday night. We'll have a guided hike around Westwood Lake for those of you who are good hikers. And I'm thinking, bring your drums, let's do a drum circle too. And outdoor games, and if you come up with other ideas, just let us know. And got a spare bed. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sleep in it with them. So, if you can put somebody up for the weekend that week so that our neighbors and friends from the Comox and Nanaimo can join us, please let Jen know. Or if you're in need of a billet, email Jen again and she'll do the best she can to match you up. And please let her know, for instance, whether it's a double bed, queen bed, whether you can accommodate a couple or just a single person, and that kind of thing. Okay? All right. Brian has another great song for us.
I have to live.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Thomas, for that amazing talk. Would it be all right if I had the drum seat next week? Yeah. Would it make me really good?
What?
Would it make me really good?
Would it make you really good?
Yeah, yeah.
It has magical powers.
There's
Wouldn't mind sitting out there and, you know.
It's called a throne for a
Oh,
reason.
the drum throne.
That's right. It's powerful.
We could just get you a throne, Patricia. You
Oh, all
deserve
right.
it. You know?
All right, so in unity we thrive, and we do, and we are thriving brilliantly. Thank you. Through all this COVID time and everything that's gone on, we have continued to be financially abundant, thanks to your support and your tithing and your volunteering and all that you do. So we just want to know how much, want you to know how much you are appreciated. And our gratitude today is for...
What?
Nico! For all the little extras you do. For all the little extras you do in leading the choir. And man, Nico's choir is not just any old choir. Yeah. And all the little extra things, you know, everything you do for us, we appreciate it so much. And here come the kids, and the kids are already in the room. So let's fast forward through all the kids' slides.
Children are here.
And tell the children how much we care for them. We see the divine light shining as you. We love and appreciate you exactly the way you are. And Dawn, thank you for being on the camera today, Dawn. Dawn will also be in the prayer room just down the hall, just down the air-conditioned hall, if you need to speak with him today. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for Marie sitting in on the tech table back there today. Thank you for Nico, and Brian, and Thomas, and to all of you.
And Patricia.
And to me. And so let's stand now for our prayer of protection and peace song. The light that is God surrounds me. I am one with the light. The love that God enfolds me. I am one with the love. The power that is God protects me. I am one with the power. The presence that is God watches over me. I am one with the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. So it is. Amen. And we would ask that you move as quickly as possible over to the lunch so that the choir can rehearse.